So what counts as evidence? Let's start with an example, very simple example. Okay, this is the example that I normally use in my course. Yeah, like Peter is in Nagoya. I could have changed this to Hiroshima. Yeah, maybe to make it really more friendly. But anyway, you get the idea. So Peter is in Nagoya because he has a house in Nagoya. Okay, what do you think about this sentence? Do you find this convincing? Peter is in Nagoya because he has a house in Nagoya. Now, I want you to see these two sentences in a different way. You see this one, Peter is in Nagoya, as the hypothesis, okay, as the conclusion that you try to prove. And he has a house in Nagoya. This is the evidence, okay? The evidence that you use to prove the hypothesis. Okay, now coming back to this one. Now I changed the example a little bit, okay? So it's still, the blue is Peter is in Nagoya because Peter has a house in Nagoya. And then the red, Peter is in Nagoya because Peter is not in Tokyo. Now which one do you think is more convincing? The blue or the red? These two has no connection. Okay? There's no connection between Peter's being in Nagoya and Peter's having a house. But the other example is very tricky. What is Nagoya? Nagoya is not Tokyo, isn't it? Are they connected or not? If you're in Nagoya, of course you're not in Tokyo. Yes? Of course, if you're not in Tokyo, it doesn't mean that you're in Nagoya. But there is a necessary connection, necessary condition. If you're in, for example, if you are in Hiroshima, of course you're not in Tokyo. Yeah? You cannot be at two places at the same time. You're not God. Yeah? Or another way of thinking about this, looking at this, Peter is not in Tokyo, okay? You don't see that this as the evidence so obviously, but try to think in a different way. And before that, here, you can see that Peter has a house in Nagoya, okay? Whether Peter has a house in Nagoya or not, put it differently, whether this is true or false, it doesn't affect the first one. If this is true, this doesn't mean that it is true. If this is false, it has no effect on the first one either. But what about this? Think about when this is false. If it is false that Peter is not in Tokyo, then Peter is in Tokyo, right? If it is false that Peter is not in Tokyo, it means that Peter is in Tokyo. If this is the case, this will become false, isn't it? Do you understand? Can you see the trick? Can you see the logical power there? There is this relation, okay, between evidence and the claim that you try to support. See, when a detective investigates a crime, one kind of evidence that they are looking for is, where were you at the point of the crime? Okay? Whether you have proof of absence or not. Yes? Proof of absence is considered as a solid, hard evidence by court. Okay? If Peter can prove that he was not at the crime scene, if he could show that, well, he was somewhere outside Japan, and there's no way he could come back to Japan in time, then yeah, he can prove his innocence in that way. Okay? See, this is a very simple example, very simple case, but it shows that, see, still a lot of people don't understand what is evidence, what counts as evidence. What counts as something that can support your claim, support your hypothesis. Okay. So if Peter is in Nagoya, Peter is in Tokyo, has to be false.